Well, welcome back to Factorio building the Hyperbase. So, although last time, not so much although, but last time we built out the copper, another iron, and these two coppers to feed down generally in this direction. You can't see it because I haven't built out any of it. This episode, the goal will be to link up these ghosts into how they're going to make the red and green circuits. To that end, I'm going to grab a whole bunch of rail, and yeah, we'll take it from there. I might just top up chain signals. I don't know how that's going to go. Actually, I could profitably use some train stations as well. What else might I use? I probably don't need any of that belt. Let's see if we can return. No. Oh yes, we can return some of it. So that does help a little bit. What else might I get? We could see where we're at with these very slow modules. You can see that if we keep relying on this source for modules, 331, if we keep relying on this source for modules, we will always be just waiting around for modules, which is why we'll build a super module production from what we're doing at the moment once we get far enough through it. This is good. This should burn through some of the excess 3.7k stone that we have in supply. And let us head to hashtag B-Iron1 as our access to our new area. Actually, I should have got some concrete, because building some paths to get around all of these builds is probably going to be vital for being able to lay it all down in a semi-efficient manner. So here we are. I'll use this bit of concrete that we have to kind of get into position. Now this is a copper build. Oh, in fact, it's two copper builds. And we have our 0, 20, 0 stacker over here. So the thing is, I mean, really what we'd like is probably copper, iron, plastic, copper, iron, plastic, copper, iron, plastic, etc. And maybe that's even possible. I mean, I might even just go into InfiniZoom, because that will show us what we've pasted down better than the map view does. So it's certainly not impossible to find a way to feed plastic down into here. It will have to cross somewhere, or cross on the other side. I didn't actually realize we had these copper kind of directly in our way. Interesting. Do I try and... It looks like we're clear in this direction. Not sure if the game's going to appreciate it if I keep zooming out further. Yeah, I don't want to go over these. They're probably quite valuable sources that we may actually need. so I kind of need to try and avoid them if possible. Yeah, we might have to come over to the right a little bit. And I don't know what's happened to my UPS counter, so let's put that back. It's just F4 to get that back, and F4 to get rid of this thing. Let's just quickly uncover that via map view, so we kind of know where we're at. Cheaty way to explore, I suppose, but it wasn't really my intention. But it is helpful in planning where we're actually going to put things. So yeah, we're coming too close to this, so we need to be over a bit. I might even... What does this actually read? It's a fairly big copper supply, isn't it? It's almost 1 billion copper. So yeah, we definitely don't want to just cover that up. I think I'll move everything over a bit so that there's room to sort of come down the side of that. The easiest way might be just to go, alright, these 5 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just get rid of them. And where did I put that length? Ah, there we go. So yes, an 820 length. That's what that all meant. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if we have the plastic in there as well, we actually need... Maybe I'll assume that plastic is in here and add another 5 for the plastic. 1, 2, is it? Yeah, it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright. So that is kind of our pre-bus, and it really depends on whether we have effectively crossed over at the top, which might be the best bet, or whether we're trying to do it at the bottom. I'm going to assume we've done it at the top for now. Let's get rid of all of this. That's not going to work. Maybe I will put our bots back in so they can actually do something useful while we sit here. Cannot insert construction robot full of wood. That gives us a little bit more space. So just so I know, this is where these are. You can rotate all of the train stops so that they point in the right direction. I'm not 100% sure that that's what I want. So it's not a direct one-to-one from each of these things, I don't think. Because we've got 6 copper and only 4 iron, so there's going to have to be some mixing on this side anyway. So maybe I can just assume these 2 are copper. Then iron, maybe. I don't know where the plastic's going to come from. Scroll out again. Well, in any event, at some point fairly close to this, we need to be taking and now I do want to have the Infini Zoom active, so if we made that straight down to say here, we don't want to travel too far. We need copper, we need iron, we need plastic, we need green circuit, we need red circuit. Oh, I must have slipped slightly on placing those guys. I don't have the train stops, that's kind of annoying. And I don't have any of those guys. Also ever slightly annoying. So this is quite a significant train area, and in fact, is it going to work for us? That's the question, because I mean, these 2, are we going to have 6 unloads? So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's whether we need an extra space basically on one of these sides, and if we did, probably if red circuits is on this side, it would probably be best to have it on this side. Let's just fix this bit. Oops. So yeah, we probably do need fairly heavy processing. I mean, it's only, could we possibly get away with any of these resources not having, or you know, combining so that you have inserters going, you know, like that, as opposed to needing a full 4 or more on each side? That's really the question, and that affects where we place everything. I think I'm going to end up with 2 rows of 11 green circuit machines, so 22 green circuit machines. They make 120 a minute unsped up. They're sped up 8 times, and then there's a further 1.4 multiplier. So we're going to be making just shy of 30,000 a minute. We've got 20 carriages, so we can divide that by 20 for the number of carriages. We can divide by 60 to get it down to seconds. We can divide by 27, and really one inserter would handle, if the train was there constantly and didn't have to move in and out, one inserter would handle it. So 3 will be fine for loading up green circuits. So I think I can just use the inside part, because you don't need as much iron, for example, as you need the produced amount of green circuits will exceed the amount of iron and copper that you put into this thing. So we should be fine with that. Alright, let's have a look at our builds then. I need some, let's grab a new blueprint and have a look up. Way up here. How are we doing beacons? We're not how I yeah, and it's probably not the way we need to do them for the other things. Just to get a beacon image, I'll do that. No, don't worry about that. Keep that there. What's that one? Yeah, we can't. That's fine. That's the one that I don't want to use. Okay. They all back? Yes, they are. They'll probably try and deposit some more stuff over there as we run by, but that's alright, I guess. That doesn't actually look like we have a lot of room between here and here. If that's one, and then the next one needs to be over here. Mind you, yeah, it's fine. Alright, beacons then. So if I'm assuming a row of beacons, I don't quite know how far they need to go just yet. We'll work that out soon enough. You can get rid of trees and things. Already running out of space. This side also will need a row of beacons. There's actually a couple of advantages in mixing the red and green circuits in the way that we are going to do here. And that is, first of all, the reds are not as intensive a use of I don't know how this is going to fit just yet. So I might just push that up to, say, there. I think it's actually going to need to go slightly up like that. Let's just see. So that is 5, I think. And I want 3 sections more, which would be, that's 1. I might even need to put a train image in this to get what I want. 1, 2, 3. I think that's what we want. No. isn't. So we've got 2 lots of red there, so we need to get rid of that. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Try that. Now if we scroll back in, yes, that's correct. 1, 2, 3. So that's the furthest extent. Now we need a train just to see how well this lines up. So yeah, when you have a dedicated green circuit build, there tends to be a struggle to get enough of the robo ports to support the number of robots that you need for a dedicated high performance green circuit build. So splitting the two like this, in addition to having the ability for the green circuits to supply directly rather than load and unload, you can actually even out the balance of the robots as well. So there's a couple of reasons why it seems to make sense to me. Okay, I think what we need is actually to place trains, so I need more of those, and I need to be able to get an 820. I guess 8 would do. 820. Down here so that I can see how it fits, comes together. And of course the bots are going to do a bit of this, but that's alright. I might end up spacing these out rather than having them all jammed up like this. Might make more sense. But just for a placeholder, letting them build a little bit of it is probably not altogether a terrible idea. Not exactly sure when I started this episode, but building on the scale can take a bit of time. That's one thing that is absolutely for sure. Yeah. We may as well place these modules that have been built. Remembering that we've got 5 of these and we're building some more very hungry module things, you can see how much modules is potentially holding us back. Which is why I've chosen a circuit heavy thing that we can divert the build for into making the circuits for modules instead of for their ultimate intended purpose. So let's get some more stuff. I'd consider the distance we're travelling back to the main base to be relatively small still. My other potential issue, not just counting the modules, is even though this thing continues to build itself out, you know, completely automated now, the rate at which it's building is perhaps not going to be fast enough to deal with our growth in energy demand with all the beacons we're putting down. So we may have to find ways to speed up the production of solar panels It'll be mainly solar panels that are holding us up, I should imagine. No, it's loading everything, but it has more accumulators on board than it does solar panels. And I've already sped up solar panels, so it's slowing it down. Maybe we could just put more production in there. Extend the line. It certainly looks like accumulators could be built faster if we needed them to. Worth being aware of. Okay. Concrete, is that what I want now? So I get round a bit faster? Probably. That should help a little bit. Alright, back to B iron 1. Maybe 2's not quite wide enough for me. My slow reactions. Okay. I'd like to see just where these guys are. Go. I probably don't need it to go straight into the build. That's probably going a little bit too far. But that should help us a little bit. Okay, so if we come to the front of this build, put some train stations in, and then yeah, that is kind of what I was worried about, the fact that red might overlap a little bit, so I want to probably push it up a little bit. Yeah. Because this one and this one are kind of out of the way, so I'd like, if possible, all of these items. That's interesting. Oh, that's just because it needs to does that make sense? No, there's something wrong with that. Yeah, it should only be a... Oh, of course there is. Because I've stamped down the same pattern on top of this, it's duplicated up, so it's one of each. And everywhere that there's two, we need to get rid of one. is the copper cable? Up here. It's just one. One request for copper cable. Not 3. And these guys only need one as well. Alright, that is probably about right. Nope. Okay, that's probably about right. So, if I go to, not that one, but this one, and clear it out. And redo this. So you are red circuit, beacon, they're groups of 8. Red circuit, beacon, so that should be obvious now. And if we pull all of this up so that we can move it up a little, need to see both ends. Only way is with our trusty InfiniZoom. Okay, so need to come down. That's 2.5, that's 3. So 2 about there. Now, unfortunately with this build, we do overlap slightly outside the range. I was hoping to avoid that, but if we to avoid it, we'd have to lose a whole 3, and then would be inside too much. So it's slightly too much having 24 of these deep. We can fit 23, which is what we'll do with the green circuit, which I need to grab off here. Green circuit with direct feed, and if we scroll out again with InfiniZoom, oh, this is not long enough, I think. Oh, there's a rock down there. Get rid of it. So these two make no sense. Right, back to our green circuit. Actually, how many do I have in that? 42, so it needs to be slightly longer than this thing. Let's start by laying it down like so. So I don't actually want you placing anything, game. So the idea here is that you have copper cable inserting into green circuit machines on both sides, because you need 2 inserters to feed one of these, but the copper cable machines don't quite produce enough for a 1-to-1, so this way you get slightly better than 1-to-1, except you're not actually getting the full benefit of the N machines, but it is better than just one machine with a double insert into each one, I think. I'll just check that maths. So 14 over 15 is what you get if you have one of these directly inserting into one of these, and that's it. I actually get about 95% because I have 12 of these inserting into these, but the because you're only getting 27 of the output of this per second, rather than the 44.8 that one of these will do with all of these beacons, you lose 5%, but it's better than 6.7%. Anyway, let's get rid of those. We oh, this is going to overlap as well from the looks of things. Does that make sense? How many of these do we have again? 1921. Yeah, so I mean this could definitely come down a bit, so that's actually okay. I basically want that, I think. Let's just make sure it hasn't done anything stupid down here. I don't think so, from what I can see. Is one inserter enough for one of these things? So it's going to be sped up 8 times, and it normally uses, where's our formula? Here we go. It normally uses 2 iron plates a second. It's sped up 8 times, so it's 16 iron plates a second. So yes, one of these is fine, but it's 48 copper cable a second, so it needs 2 of these, because each of these can do about 27. 2 of these to feed it the copper cable. And these machines produce about 44.8, so 1 is not enough to unload it, but where it's got 2, it will unload fast enough. So that's how that works, but we have too much overhang up the top, so what I want to do is again come to this, and we will copy this whole image and move it down just a little to better balance it. That's green circuit, that is beacons, and direct insert, I think is what I meant by that. So green circuit beacon, and now let's get rid of this whole thing. Move it down into a better position. Okay, I think that is pretty much where I want it, actually. Yeah, it doesn't really make a difference. So it's fractionally shorter than the red circuits. The machines line up with the carriages, and that's about as good as you can get. We need 2 more, which would make it quite a lot longer if we were to go any further deep into it. And so that is how and these will reach all of that, but it wouldn't reach any further, and these ones also don't reach enough to try and support another row. So that is our combined stack. We probably should work out the loading arrangements. This one has 8 sets of, there's 8 red circuits in each of these, so that's 64. 64 red circuit machines. They take 6 seconds, so that's times 10 for a minute divided by 60 for seconds, but then times 8 and times 1.4, and we are getting 119 per second. So yeah, they should be able to load a train like 1 inserter per wagon divided by 20. It's you need to load about 5, which 1 inserter can do easily. So 2 or 3 inserters is probably all we need on the red and green trains, which probably means only 2 inserters is really needed for copper and iron, and possibly plastic as well. But we'll probably use 3 inserters on all of them. I don't have any of those stack inserters to do it with, but yeah, that is probably the thing I want now, is lots and lots of inserters. So if it's 3 by 20 by 5, that's 300. 300 green inserters. And we've got all of the ones in that build, which is not as many as you would think. 50, say. 120, so and 60, 180, so let's get 200 of those. And if I add up the red chests, there's 22 there, 22, 86, that's basically 110, and another 60. Let's just get 200 of them as well. And how many of these do we actually have? $70. $70 roboports. We won't even be able to fit all that here, so we'll have to get rid of some of this rail on the way. Let's try that for starters. Take some coffee. Yeah, that's seriously depleting our supply of rail. It may not make that much sense if we're going to move some of these over, which, you know, we probably are, so we'll see. Anyway, has that used enough? Probably not. think I'd like to come over here and use up some more of our rail. Oh, come on, bot. We need to get some infinite research going, some bot capacity and all that kind of good stuff. Just worker robot speed, probably more important. We can't do bot capacity. It's not something I'm going to be planning on putting in, but this is going to be completely vanilla in terms of the power of what bots can do. All these trees, we might have to get rid of these trees a little bit more aggressively. Oh, whoops, that is not what I wanted to do. Damn, I forgot that I hadn't undone that. Okay, where is our smelting stack that we've got? What's that? No. No. Yes. We need to relay that. That hasn't caused us too great a problem. Go on, I'm not doing this so much to collect wood. I want to use up some of the rail that I picked up earlier. Game, come on, let's go. We have to do this sooner or later, so I guess we're getting some advantage out of doing it now. The main reason to get these inserters and boxes, I'm getting all the extra boxes because I know that these silly robots will try and put them down anyway, but what I really want to do is just sort out where the boxes actually go. We could probably do with more of those as well. Just in case, I'll make it 200. You're supposed to be a little bit faster than you were. Okay, so where's our train over here? Got all 100, yep. Back to base, pick up these extra supplies, drop off what we've got. Let's see if solar's built any more. It looks like it has. Good, good. And we're paused again. How are we doing? We've got 29,000 now, so close to 2 gigawatts of capacity. These things only come on when the accumulators drop to 80%. Alright, there's some more stone for your collection. Using all that rail wasn't enough to make up for the extra stone that we've just brought in, but never mind. I think it has pretty much given us all of those that we asked for. I'm going to have to change these hot keys. Maybe make a run up the top after the episode to get rid of all this wood into our wood burner. I have this one here, I just dump wood in there, all manually at the moment. We'll see about something more permanent later, but yeah, solar, poor little solar. We already have 406, or half a gigawatt basically, of beacons. And that's only going to go in the wrong direction. Alright, back to our build. Hopefully we can finish it off. I don't want a complex series of crossovers if I can avoid it. So that's kind of what I want to aim to not do. We may have to make some more train access points once we have filled out the train lines a little bit more. I didn't even check modules, but I'm pretty sure they haven't actually built that much further up. So they do take quite a while. Here we go. Oh, I didn't even count the stack inserters required here, so we're going to end up short and having to run back to base again. Never mind. We are going to want to flesh this out sooner or later. Wow. We do have a few resources left, just not very many. Okay, so here's a train. Needs to request red circuits and green circuits. If you've got 3, I think you can fit 8,000 on each wagon, because it's 100, 100 or 200, 2,000, yeah, 8,000, 200, they stack in 200, so it's 8,000 in each wagon. If you've got 3 divided into 8,000, it's about 2,700 would be needed in each of these to fill them up. Green circuits, 2,700. And stack inserters, which in spite of getting all of those stack inserters, we now have none. Well, we're not going to be putting non-stack inserters in there. Guess we'll get 400. And run back and get some more. So that's red and green, that's this row. Over here we have copper. Maybe this one should be copper. Well, I guess this one has to be because of where they're placed. Copper and iron. And plastic. we'll go something like that. But I do need those stack inserters, so yeah, unfortunately we're just going to have to do a quick run back. The advantages of that supply train that I could give one little command to and it would go and do the run back to base, but yeah, we're not quite there yet. So, whoops, that's not what I wanted, that's what I wanted. Back to main base. At least this time we're not full of junk to get rid of, so perhaps it won't take too long. We can top up on the requester and passive provider chests while we are here. We might not. Oh, I don't need those. Right now. We got our 400. 1, 2, 3. We do actually have our 400. That's very good. Maybe I will grab 50 of them while I'm here. Look at this. It really can't handle the rate at which we are using stuff, even in this sort of design phase. Which is why we need to supplement it from our builds out in the wild, if you like, our Hyperbase builds. When they're not able to be fully employed in their actual purpose, they can be giving us the resources we need to do what we need to do. I might have to get that reinforced concrete going, replace all of this with the extra 10% speed or whatever you get. Okay, let's grab some stack inserters before they all go. I've done that all wrong, haven't I? We unload the requester chests. We load the passive providers. And we place power That's interesting. I could actually have squished that up. No, I can't. I need the space for the... and all of this is going to need power as well from somewhere. It wouldn't hurt to actually get it connected. made much difference? No, good. So yeah, if we get to about 33,000 solar panels, that will be our second gigawatt, which is nice. Very easy once it's set up. So what I want to do is duplicate this pattern. And this pattern. And then we want to blueprint this so that we don't have to do it anymore. And that should tile, which we're going to find out really soon. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. And that can be given inserters green and red. There you go. Is it all done? No. So now what I want to allow for is basically the red circuit train to return like so, and the green circuit train to also return like so, because their future journeys are going to be fairly short from this point, and we just want to get them back to where they need to go. And the reason I'm putting that in there is to be sure that I'm allowing enough space for the next block. In fact, if there were just 2 of these, I'd actually create the mirror of it on this side rather than a direct copy of it. But as that's not the case, I think what we're going to do is just place a direct copy of it with a brand new blueprint. Have I mucked this up? Yes, I have. Red actually goes here. Not in a big way. I thought I'd done a much worse muck up than I actually have. We have to get here to here somehow. There we go. It still works. and this one has to come into this one. Like so. There we go. That's better, because there's 3 here, of course. This is plastic. Now, blueprint. Probably should have set up the station names and added them into the blueprint, but I didn't think of that, so we can come over a little bit, or do I want tracks to be able to get in this bit? I don't know. Maybe not for this one. So we can have 2 just like that. This is our green and red. Green and red build, and we're getting far too many of those things, so we need to... Where did that end up? I didn't do it, did I? And click there. There we go. Finish this bit up. And now we have the fun job of trying to work out how we connect up the supply lines into here. It's probably not going to work. We're going to need to bridge across here. So thanks for joining me for this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and you can start to see the magnitude of what we're putting together. And I'm looking forward to the next bit, because I certainly am. And see you then. Bye bye for now.